like to talk about how I worked with this guy's reactivity. So he came to me with high resource guarding of his territory, of his first family. And in fact, his first family couldn't even take him around the block without him going nuts at strangers. If people came in the backyard, he'd be attacking their back window, sliding door, and it was making it really hard for them. Their life became hectic. They couldn't have people over. Their dog was just too reactive. And we used a balanced approach to, for one, we bonded with the dog. Enough, guys. Thank you. And we got to the point where he was bonded with me. I could do anything I needed to do with him. He wasn't going to react to me. He was highly food reactive as well, so we worked on that. We got it to where he trusted us before we started taking him out and correcting any unwanted behaviors when he saw new people. We've found that a positive-based only approach is very limited, especially with reactive dogs, and you just can't get the results that you want if you want a dog that has reactivity to be trusted with new people. So we used the balanced approach. We conditioned him to our markers, and when he started to get reactive, we just simply communicated to him that that was not appropriate, and that if he reacted in that way, he was going to receive a leash pop. As you can see, he's a very silly dog, very playful. And so the minute he saw that he couldn't do that, I would then let people approach him. In the beginning, all right, enough. Thank you. In the beginning, we had people pet him and just kind of socialize him and desensitize him to new people. We had him muzzled in the beginning. That way, of course, it was going to be safe. He couldn't do anything. And once we saw that he wasn't going to do anything to people, and that people could actually approach him and pet him, and he was going to actually just soak up that love instead of getting reactive, I was able to take off his muzzle and let him socialize with people without that muzzle. At this point now, I can take him anywhere, and so far he hasn't done any kind of reactivity in a year and a half. I've had him for about 2 years now, and he has just been fantastic. He's been doing so good, and that is why I support the balance-based strategies. And I try to encourage people that are using alpha-based trainings to switch up their role and to start looking into and practicing a balanced-based strategy. It'll give you far more success and a much better bond with your dog. And I think that is really the most important thing, is you can bond with your dog in such a better way. It honestly has changed my life around completely, and that is why I support it so much, on top of the fact that you get such great results with working with reactive dogs, or really any kind of issue with a dog. You just have far more control over the situation because you're able to correct unwanted behaviors. And dogs correct each other all the time, so what's the big deal if we correct them as well? As long as we're doing it right, we've gotten the dog's trust, and we're not giving fear to the dog, it's going to work. If you have a fearful dog, you have to build up their confidence. With him, he was a very confident dog, so me causing fear to him was very unlikely. He was just so confident. In fact, he was a little too confident. Some people, especially someone that is an alpha-based trainer, would have called him dominant and would have felt like he was a dominant dog, but I didn't feel like that at all. At the point that I started working with him, I had gotten that out of my mindset, and I knew he wasn't a dominant dog. In fact, he's actually a really submissive dog, and that's why this guy can push him around and other dogs can push him around. It's because he's pretty submissive. He does not actually want to dominate people. He just felt like he was supposed to protect his family. And so then those aggression issues started to escalate, and it definitely could have been bad, even though he's really friendly and he's a very submissive dog, he was very territorial and very protective. And a dog like that is a high chance of hurting someone else. If he had broken through that glass window while the gardeners were there, I'm sure he would have attacked them. And I have no doubt if he had gotten off the leash when they were taking him for walks, he could have attacked someone. In fact, when he first met this husky right here, Iris, when he was first dropped off, he actually bit him and caused a wound on his side. And now look at them, they're friends. They love each other. And that was just because we communicated to them that behavior is not wanted. And then of course I socialized him with my pack. So he learned that he couldn't do those behaviors. He's actually very friendly with other dogs, and he's never done that since that incident. He's never hurt another dog. He's actually had other dogs hurt him before and attack him and cause him to have wounds on his ears and other areas, and he didn't even hurt that dog. He did stop the dog, but he did not hurt the dog. And that shows me right there how wonderful of a dog and a breed he is. You know, the issue with him is he was with his family, and he came up, and because of his family, his previous owners, he felt he needed to be protective, and so he did show that reactivity with him. And I had literally only met this dog for about an hour or so prior to that, and so I thankfully was able to correct him and stop him from doing that behavior. And he didn't escalate the attack. He did his initial bite. I corrected him. He stopped, and after that, it was totally fine. The owners dropped him off here and eventually ended up surrendering him here after they felt like he was just too much. They felt like he had a better bond with me after the time he had spent with me, and I think it was a good choice. It definitely is a better environment for him. He's got a lot more room. I mean, my dog run alone is about twice the size of his previous backyard, and we've got another 5 acres that he gets to walk around, and he gets to protect my livestock. So he's absolutely thriving in his new environment. And sometimes people do get the wrong breed. I'm sure they could have eventually gotten him to the state where they would have been able to walk him around with people. Problem is they just weren't confident enough doing that. They couldn't do it in their mind, and when you feel like you can't do it, you'll never be able to do it. You definitely have to be confident that you can make a change and that you can do something, and some people just aren't like that. That's just happened to be how that case was. They didn't feel like they could give him what he needed, and that's okay if you understand that. Luckily, they were able to find a really good home for him. I love the heck out of him. He's a wonderful dog, and I mean, absolutely amazing. And the only way I'd rehome him is if I found the absolute perfect home. You know, he is technically a rescue dog, and I do look for a home for him, but it's rare. I think it would be really rare for me to find the right home for him. He's absolutely fantastic. I love him so much that home would have to be, I mean, perfect to the T for me to give him up to him. And so I don't see that happening anytime soon. So he's a wonderful dog now, and it really just took the right communication with him. And that's why I encourage people to look into a balance-based technique. So if you have been looking into training dogs, or you're having issue training your dog, check out Balance-Based Techniques, a great trainer online that does a fantastic job at explaining the science for people. He does it a little bit different than other trainers as well. I've met several. They've done things differently. Most people do, and I really like the way he does it. He has extra steps, but doing those extra steps makes things easier. And his name is Nate. So check him out if you are confused with a balanced strategy, or if you want a better idea of the science. Nate Shermer is a fantastic trainer. I hope I said his last name right. He's absolutely wonderful. He's got great content. Enough, Bane? Thank you. Good boy. So definitely check him out and educate yourself. Enough, Bane. Thank you. He's trying to dig up some dirt. He likes to sleep on soft dirt. So check him out, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you then.